sponsored by Shop G&O for the following season, everybody. Make sure you're checking out their brand new website launching on the 5th of May. If you sign up and become part of the members club, it's a £25 membership club, absolutely free, everybody. You can only get it through One Leeds. Competitive rates across the site as well. Better than Amazon, Vinted, and eBay. Make sure you check out Shop G&O. It is an e-commerce site which is tailored for all of your needs. Also, everybody, we are sponsored by Job Match Group. Talking about tailoring, make sure you check out this. It's got very specific job needs tailored to all of your every single needs. Make sure you check it out, everybody. Launching on the 6th of May. Well worth it. Finally, we're sponsored by the lads at Match Bingo. £2 per card, £5 for the price of 4. Get involved every match day, everybody. The QR code is in the corner. And let's get into the show, shall we? Oh, God, everybody, how good is that intro music? How good is it? We're going to have to get in contact with the band. I absolutely love that. I'm here jamming away to it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. You are listening to One Leeds fan channels. About to go One Leeds HQ here, but you're here at One Leeds HQ. And of course, this is the rumour mill every single morning. I will be updating you throughout this window for the next 3 months, really. The next 3 flipping months, maybe 4 months. Who knows? We'll probably carry it on a little bit afterwards as well. Your favourite show. Welcome back to all of you. Thank you so much for all of you engaging. Really appreciate it. Shout out JLG for that comment as well. Really appreciate that, buddy. Liam's in the building. Jason in the building. William, Dave, all the regulars. Josh is here as well. John P. Martin's here. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Andy says, woke up at 5 a.m. Indiana Dunes National Park, USA, to see this. Fantastic stuff, mate. Dave's in the building. Jamie, Dylan, Leeds United Clips. Are you, Ross? How's it going, mate? Be funny if Sunderland win today. It would be indeed. John says, morning, everybody. Morning, Josh. Hello. Johnny's here. Morning, Con. I've been selected to be part of the media for the new shirt launch. Buzzing. If there's any new signings, I'll let you know. Good lad, Johnny. That's the inside we need there, mate. Yeah, 100%. Shout out to you. Morning from Scousland. How you, Dan? And yeah, everybody, we've got a few bits to talk about today. As you can see on screen on the Transfer Centre, we've got a few bits to talk about. We're going through the player focus as well. So make sure you're sticking on with us throughout this video. Also, I have to plug a few things, bit of admin before we get into it. Number one, everybody, we have now with Shop G&O, a little bit of an additional thing as well. We've got an A5 soft cover photo book containing 70 promotion day 35 millimeter or whatever that means, film photos by a lifelong Leeds United fan. This is, you can get this at www.thecasualscollective.co.uk. It's unbelievable. The photos are insane. So look through this. A nephew of the founder has created this. It's fantastic. Even I'm trying to get on myself, to be honest with you. But listen, we're going to be giving that out as a gift for people who register with Shop G&O, as well as the additional benefits that are free 25 quid membership. You're in for prizes every month. You can list your shop on there, better rates than Amazon, eBay, Vinted, all the rest of them as well. You can buy bits on there. It's fantastic, honestly, guys. And they're adding stuff to it every single week, ran by a Leeds United fan. So make sure you check that out, everybody. That'll be coming in the next coming days. Another bit of a benefit of signing up as well. Also, Patreon description below. We've got an early release of a video, another interview with another famous Leeds fan on Patreon right now. We'll be releasing that, I think, next week. So a little bit of housekeeping there as well. Okay, let's get into a couple of your contents. Harvey says, Sunderland fan here. Love the content, Connor. Keep it up. I'm absolutely you-know-what in today, but I'm feeling pretty confident. Good lad, mate. I'm just happy we're not in it. I'm buzzing we're not in it. And there's loads of things of which we're going to talk about today, which kind of link with it as well. I will be doing a watch-along. If any of you are interested, on the second channel, I'll be doing a watch-along for the Sunderland Sheffield United game. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. So make sure you check on us out for that one. It will probably be going live at about 2:30. So Okay, let's get into it. Hey, Greeny, how's it going, mate? Let's get into your latest news, shall we? The latest Leeds United news, and it's hotting up, everybody. It is absolutely hotting up, which is great it's great to get involved in, isn't it? It starts on the 1st. We're coming to the last games of the season. You know, you see Napoli win the Scudetto last night. McTominay, thank God. We're not going to have to think about Scott McZidane next season for Man United. What a season he's had. And Lukaku just shows Man United, when they leave Man United, players do well, don't they? And we can involve our little boy Dan James in that as well. So let's talk about the first rumour on the mill today, shall we, everybody? We're going to go all the way to Scotland, and we're going to speak about Lennon Miller. Now, Lennon Miller, young lad who plays for Motherwell in Scotland, has been excelling this season. We spoke about him in the round last season, and clubs trying to poach him, basically, from the Scottish side. He looks, I mean, just check him out on YouTube, compilation-wise. Check him out. It's like Lennon Miller. Cool name as well, by the way. Imagine a Lennon at Leeds. Lennon at Leeds. Yes, please. You guys know I'm all about the names as well. But yeah, apparently he's the best British teenager on the circuit right now, according to several reports. He's outstanding. He's got attention from Leeds, Atalanta, Bologna, Como, Chelsea. There's loads of clubs after him at this moment in time. He can play anywhere in midfield, the 6, the 8, the number 10. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. I think he's got 12 goal contributions in 36 appearances for Motherwell. For a young lad, that's absolutely exceptional. And apparently he's got that ability to, you know, when we're talking about attributes and profile consistently on the channel, he's got all of this to transition into some of the top leagues in Europe. Hence why you're getting Serie A clubs, top Serie A clubs looking at him. Obviously, Bologna just won the cup out in Italy, and used to effectively farming and making players better. You look at Ferguson, who's over there now, the Scottish product, who's excelling. But apparently he's a very fierce kid as well, and in future leadership. So listen, if Leeds can get someone like that done, we were once called Scotland United. Can we make that name again? Can we call ourselves Scotland United with a limit? You know, they don't have players like that, like they used to have up there, but still, Lennon Miller looks like a really nice one. Miller time, says Nidar. Rune says, get him. Like it. What kind of, let's have a look, just a couple of echo everyone's comments about Stuart Dallas. Yeah, I've not really spoke about Stu, have I? Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Look, guys, a little bit of this is what I do all the time to myself as well. Connie, you should on this, should on that. It would have been great to do a sit-down interview with him. It'd have been great. He didn't have a lot of time. It was set up. I was invited from a promotion standpoint to Rife. They've contacted me before. Really good lads down there, and they contacted Stuart. And look, we were on the guest list, and I just contacted them and said, look, can I get something with Stuart? Yes, fantastic. Apparently he knows the channel as well, which is amazing. He said it on the video as well. He's aware of the channel. Apparently the players are aware of the channel as well, which kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Oh, God. And it was quite funny off air as well. He was like, oh, you like me now, don't you? And I was like, to be fair, I've always liked you, Stuart. If you've not played well, mate, I'll give you a bit of criticism. You know what I'm like? I'm never going to change. But I've praised him as well. And no, we had a right laugh. It was really good. He's a really good bloke. A bit too good looking for my liking. If you see Stuart Dallas in person, yeah, you'll know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? A bit too good looking. So, yeah, no need for that, Stu, trying to embarrass me on camera. But no, it was great. He was a good lad. And I hope it came across as a bit informal. We're having a laugh. And sometimes you see these footballer interviews and they come in with the questions like this, the interviewers. And look, I was taught to do it when I was doing my masters. Stay there and you ask formal questions. But I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to riff it. I'm just going to go, make him feel a little bit at home. We had a laugh on camera as well, and I hope it came across. It was only short, but I tried to get in as much as I could in a time period. You got 5 or 6 of his staff looking at you, making sure you don't ask certain questions about, you know, stupid things on there, which I never would do anyway, and put him in an awkward position. But a really good experience. I've done stuff like that before as well. So, yeah, really great. So check that out afterwards if you fancy it. Okay, let's get into the next bit. The channel is now going to be PG. There's no point in me doing it, mate, if that's the case. You know what I'm like. But yeah, thank you so much for all the kind comments as well. I know a few of you have mentioned it. Okay, so we'll move on from Lennon Miller. As you can see here, I don't know why it's not updated, and we will 100% update. In fact, can I update it now on our little widget? Hold on. Transfer centre. Yes, that is not correct. Okay, so we're just updating that Matthias Fernandes bid because we're not getting him for 10 million quid. So let's speak on the next rumour on the mill, everybody. Who should we go? Where should we go? Let's go from Scotland all the way to England, to Wembley, and let's talk about why it's a big day for Leeds United. Massive day for the club. Why is it a massive day for the club? Sunderland, Sheffield United, who's going to get promoted? As a neutral, it's fantastic to watch. However, the scope here for us, who's going up? Who do we want to go up? Who is going to be more of a success, more of a danger for the club in the Premier League? Who are we going to be able to maybe grab a few players off in the Premier League? If they stay in the Championship and obviously we're in the Premier League, a lot of things to consider here, and this is of best interest to Leeds United to think about this. It's not a game of which we can sit back, we can have a laugh about it. Of course we can, but this is important. It's an important day because I don't think there's a mass amount of quality in the Championship, but if there is quality in the Championship, it's at one of these two clubs for me that are still down there. You look at the likes of Vinny Souza, you look at the likes of Gus Hamer. You look at the likes of Michael Cooper, you look at the likes of Joe Bellingham, Trey Hume, Isidore, players of this ilk, where can they make that leap to the Premier League? I think some of them definitely can. But if they're staying down in the Championship, one of them is going to be staying down, and there will be competition come June 1st for a lot of their signatures. So this is of keen interest to Leeds United, not only, but I've mentioned who there as well. We need to be looking at a club coming up, and we need to be predicting in our minds who's going to come up and who's going to be the best, who's going to give it a real go. Now, I'm edging a little bit more on Sunderland being a problem if they go up. The reason I'm saying that is because their recruitment has been outstanding for 2 years, 3 years now. The chairman, owner, KLD, and his group, his consortium, work on a very data-led model. They bring in youngsters for cheap who've got very good reputations in amongst their leagues, respective leagues. They don't always go with the top ones. They can go with League Two in France. They can go with whatever the Scandinavian countries and bring players in. And it's very reminiscent of that at Brentford. Very reminiscent. Brentford built, had a few losses, built, and then got there, and they've maintained it and sustained it. Sunderland feel like that club a little bit to me, and not only that, but they're a massive club as well. They're a bigger club than Brentford. So would they be a little bit more of a problem coming up to the Premier League with regards to being in competition with Leeds United? Sunderland are a big club. They'd rival Leeds when it comes to some signatures 100% as a newly promoted club, but also that recruitment level as well. And Leeds going to the Stadium of Light in the Premier League, all of these factors you have to consider. When we've played Sheffield United, I understand you add this context, of course you do, but you add the context. Leeds have beaten Sheffield United 5 out the last 6 times, and they've included Premier League times. I think that in the Premier League, once again, and we've got 2 wins on them again this season, Leeds would be okay against Sheffield United. I think we'll be able to recruit players better than Sheffield United do. I'm not so sure about Sunderland. I'm not so sure. They have a big recruitment pull when it comes to the size of the club, but their data-led approach as well, their recruitment approach, their sporting director-led approach is very, very good. Very good. So it's what you want. So this is a keen day. It's a key day for Leeds United, this. It's a big one. It really is a big one. Morning, Lee. How's it going, mate? Thanks so much, buddy. Sunderland will 100% have players lined up who we don't have a clue about, and they'll be decent, 100%, mate. Sheffield, I think, will win it and would love us to go for Mienda. Yeah, Mienda, what a player, Jam. Completely agree with you, mate. Kai, Sunderland will be more dangerous in the Premier League. This is kind of where I'm at, really, and kind of, it's not me underestimating Sheffield United, but we've got a very, very recent look at Sheffield United. And the benefit might be, well, Connor, you look at Ipswich. Ipswich haven't been in the Premier League for a number of years. They go up from League One to the Premier League, and, it's not been great for them. But they have finished above the other 2 who've gone up in Leicester and Southampton. Also, off the back of that, everybody, it's Ipswich's first time in about 30 years they're in the Premier League. Well, I think they went down about 2002, didn't they? But Sunderland have been in there very, a lot more recently, and they're a bigger club. They're a bigger club than Ipswich. So I do think that stands for something, because that's always something we preach. So Sunderland fans can preach that as well. So I probably would rather Sheffield United go up, if I'm honest. So Hayden says, are you doing a watch long for the game? I am, mate. I'm doing it on the second channel. So yeah, I'll see you over there, buddy, around about 3 o'clock. Still got to schedule it though, so I will do. Okay, so let's move on to the next rumour, shall we, everybody? So the next rumour is surrounding our left back, or our left winger, with these reports. It's Junior Firpo, okay? Now, this is really interesting. So I was speaking to a few of my mates about Firpo, and it's interesting throughout the season how you look at his position, you think, is he actually a left back with his attacking intent? Reports are suggesting today that the Lazio sporting director, or the Lazio guy who's in charge of recruitment, is looking to bring Junior Firpo in as a left winger. He's not looking at him as a left back. Now, that is so interesting when it comes to the acclimatization of a different league with Junior Firpo, his tendencies. But also another big thing when we're talking about Lazio, because apparently he's got a decent offer from Lazio, is he's had offers from clubs in England, according to a few reports today. So Junior's sort of weighing up that move. Apparently this juicy offer that Leeds United have put toward him has been, according to reports again, it is the rumour mill, 155 grand a week. But apparently, when you're kind of looking at Italian clubs, a lot of them play a three at the back, whether or not it's a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, when you get a lot of the left wing backs effectively acting as wingers anyway. You look at Nuno Tavares, formerly or of Arsenal right now, obviously he was on loan at Lazio. He was effectively playing as a left winger. So it makes a lot of sense when it comes to Lazio and how they can offer him that position and say, look, don't worry about defending. They double up, but a lot of them play three at the back when it comes to inverted wingers and Italian football clubs. And you'll know that if you watch Serie A. But it feels like that would work. It would sort of relieve him of that many defensive tendencies, and him going forward in the top league, he's always going to be a problem, isn't he, when it comes to physically athleticism wise, him getting across the pitch a little bit better. There's less emphasis on the pace than there is in the Premier League. I think it's more of a league based on strategy. When it comes to Serie A, I think it always has been. But there's examples there. But it's so interesting that he's got offers from England. But it's also so interesting that Lazio will sign him to be a left winger. They will not sign him to be a left back. So does that work? Does that work? But yeah, when we're talking about the rumours that are coming out, if this juicy offer is said to be believed, is around about 155 grand a week. There's no way I am offering him 155 grand a week. I'm letting him go. And I'm looking at bringing in two other left backs. You guys know the profile I'll be looking at. I like Firpo, just because Firpo's been good in the Championship and might have improved. It does worry me that we're continuing talks with him, and it's kind of the offers left on the table. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. But football is based on a meritocracy. I've used it for the manager and certain personnel, but I do look at him as a profile of player, and that's not improved. In terms of that's not different now with Firpo. He's not suddenly positionally better. I think he's just had more license in a much weaker league this year. So yeah, I'd be a little bit worried. If that's true, that's stupid money. He'd be daft not to turn that down. He'd be decent to have as a backup though. 100%. Watched Lazio a few times. They played 4-2-3-1. 155 grand a week. I'd rather offer that to a striker. The rumours again of this juicy offer sicken me. Farke FFS. I think Firpo would flourish in Serie A. As you said, they love a three at the back in the league. They love a three at the back in the league, and yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. Completely agree with that. So, yeah, as I say, it's an interesting rumor really when it comes to Serie A. It is an interesting rumor because I think he'd be decent in that division. He'd be decent in that division, and it'd be one of those really where you kind of looking at it and thinking, would he be a little bit more adaptable to that? Would he be a little bit more adaptable to that? But I don't know. As AJ quite rightly said, a Lazio gonna maybe divvy up the formation, play something a little bit different next season, go to a three at the back like they've played before, when Milenkovic, etc. was there, when they were in a 3-4-3. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, some wonderful opinions once again in this chat. Always, mate, the chat is unbelievable. If we play 3-4-3, Firpo can work. He'd be better on that. 100%. He'd be better on that. I think we're all very aware of that. Okay, let's move on. Some good opinions in the chat today, everybody. Keep them flying in. We're going to move on to the managerial chat. Now, calm down. Calm down. This isn't a bad thing. This isn't a bad thing, but we are going to move on to this. Okay. not that one. But yes, God, where do we start with this one? Not Peretz. All right, let's just move on with this one. But as you can see, I'm trying to think about how to word this. Basically, Raul. Connor, he doesn't play anymore. I know, guys. I know. Look, a lot of people don't like you even talking about this. Okay, some people would say you shouldn't be talking about this, Connor. It's negative, but it's news. It's the room mill. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch the videos. You have to watch the room mill segment as well. AS are reporting today in Spain, obviously a bit of a rival to Marca. I think AS, from doing the room mill for years and years and years now, I'm not massively up on them in Spain. I think a lot of it is sort of tier 3, tier 4 nonsense. Marca is the one that you want to be looking at when it comes to reliability. Still reporting today, and it's still bizarre, but the reports coming out from Spain today saying Leeds and the 49ers are still looking at Raul as a potential replacement for manager Daniel Farke. Now, what do we know about this? What's the obvious thing? They backed him publicly. You've got Peretz coming out and saying we are sticking by him. He said it in his original video as well. It's not just a championship thing. I believe that wholeheartedly. But is there a contingency plan? There has to be. There's a contingency plan for Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth. Contingency plan, because you can't be as ill prepared as we were when we absolutely shat the bed when the manager circuit started to change with us in the Premier League with likes of Jesse Marsh, and we started going to managers like Arne Slot and Iriola and saying, please help us, please save us. We don't have a project, but please come and save us. And they both just looked at us and went, no, we're all right, thanks. Want to maintain our careers. But there has to be contingency plans, worst case scenario, succession plans, Now, what would they be interested in? Globalization. They're in America. Obviously, they want Leeds to be, from what you read, marketable in the States. The States have a massive Spanish contingency out there. Raul is a Spanish legend and a Real Madrid legend. So the brand appeal makes a lot of sense there. Style of football for Real Madrid Castilla. He has been the manager there, obviously for their reserve side, and apparently he plays an outstanding brand of football. He's highly impressive in communication. He's learning language upon language. And he plays a very impressive style of football, according to reports. Long-term projection, reputation for developing youth as well, working within the Castilla development, which is effectively where obviously core brand started when it came to the youth development, then moving into managerial, which is where a lot of them start, to be fair. And Daniel Farke as well, I think he was at Dortmund too, wasn't he? So yeah, look, rumours from the Spanish side saying that Leeds are still in communication with Raul, and that will be a thing. Dependent on what happens with Leeds in the Premier League. Don't shoot the messenger. Some people get very upset at that. How dare he talk about the manager? I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm reporting that this is what's going on today. Raul up front, please. Yeah, we'd have striker, wouldn't we? Smash a like, good lad, Connor. Thanks so much. I'd rather striker Raul. Yeah, 100%. Hey, Cole, how's it going? Buddy? Well, I thought Farke would get to 10 games in the Premier League. Too much of a risk, says Leeds United Calypso. Yeah, good shout, Ross. Not a bad shout. Van Nistelrooy rumours. It would very, very much follow a Nistelrooy line of thought, wouldn't it? It really would, in terms of like unproven at the top level, coming over, etc., etc. So I do get that comparison, mate. Yeah, and that's what's just been spoken about today. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Okay, Daniel Peretz. Who is Daniel Peretz? Bayern Munich, second/third goalkeeper. Apparently, Leeds United are battling it out with Genoa for his signature, which is interesting in itself. Peretz has not played that many games this season. He's not played that many games this season in the Bundesliga, but he is Israeli. He will be linking up with his teammate, of course, in Manor Solomon. And yeah, it's interesting to talk about that, guys, isn't it? It's interesting to talk about how this will, what's going to come to the fore here when it comes to him, when it comes to the development of Solomon. Would someone like Peretz come in? I'm not 100% sure. Would that work? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Peretz is a goalkeeper of which is attracting interest. and is someone as well who, would cost Leeds not that much money. 5 to 8 million is being reported by some reports this morning. If any of you know about Daniel Peretz as well, let me know in the comment section below. I can't profess to know that much about him. I don't know that much about every single footballer, everyone, believe it or not. So let me know in the comment section below if you've got some additional thoughts on that and if you've got some equivalents. Sorry, I missed the player. Decent. What's that, Jordan? What do you mean? Sorry. AJ says never heard of him. Morning as well. Hi, mate. Philip says the 49ers are professionals. They have contingency plan for every player, every staff member too, including that and national teams. 100% cheaper than the national team player. Yeah, 100% agree with that. So yeah, everybody, that's what we're looking at. Let's move on to Julian Weigl. So we've spoken about Weigl before several times. Borussia Mönchengladbach are looking at bringing in a very decent talent who is on the circuit, who I'm quite aware of at Basel. He was going to be in my video that I did the other day. That's obviously not going to happen now. Abdullah, he plays for Basel. He's one of the top passers in Europe at this moment in time, but apparently Basel are looking to bring him in. Mönchengladbach are looking to bring him in from Basel, and Leeds United, so they're looking for a replacement basically in the central midfield space, and Leeds United are looking to bring in Weigl off the back of that. Obviously, Daniel Farke brought him in for Borussia Mönchengladbach for 6 million. Feels kind of similar vibes to that of Alai Gruev. Obviously brought in for a similar price as well, and it looks like he is going to be leaving the club, but he's yet to be convinced, according to reports this morning. But Farke did bring him in, called him a great player. He's going to be available with Basel, bringing in one of the top passers in Europe. Could we look at that one instead? No, okay. But yeah, apparently Weigl would look at the move. He's 29 years of age. Yeah, look, it'd be okay. It'd be an improvement, I think, on someone like Gruev, which would be a step forward, I guess. In that respect. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Everybody, as you can see here, his market value is around 3 million quid. And Leeds look to be the only club at this moment in time interested in his signature. Take 8. Weigl good, but is he better than what we've got? Tom says Weigl is such a top player. Don't know Weigl. Which one player would you go for on June 1st, pal? Realistic target who can be integrated ASAP. I'm going to get onto him in just a second, mate. So stick around for that. So, yeah. So, as you can see, Daniel Peretz here, Leeds fighting with Genoa for his signature, according to reports. Here we go. Okay. Now, good question from Ross, and this is the answer. Matías Fernandes, we spoke about him on the 10 players that Leeds could consider from relegated sides, and obviously you put a few speculative ones in there, but I chucked this guy in about 3 days ago now because I thought to myself, he's not really on the circuit as much in terms of, like, I was looking at players at Southampton like Ugachukwu, who I think would be a really nice loan signing for Leeds and would be decent, in my opinion, in terms of an additional, from a top side as well in Chelsea. We've spoken about Liam Delap, but look, I know when I'm making the video that Liam Delap's not going to come to Leeds. I know when I'm looking at making the video that Leif Davis isn't going to come to Leeds, but we've kind of got to talk on this and say, look, who are 10 players that Leeds could look at from relegated sides and maybe test the waters with. This guy I mentioned in around about 4th or 5th, and not many people commented on it about 3 days ago. We spoke about him a little bit. Right. Let me try put this into perspective. I think this guy, when Forest went and got Morgan Gibbs-White, he's not the same player in a sense, because I think he can, he's a little bit more defensive than Morgan Gibbs-White, but in terms of creativity, innovativeness, this guy, and look, you'll see goals and assists, and you'll think, well, Connor, he's not this, he's not that, he's not the other. Portuguese under 21, they only brought him last season. They only bought him last season from Sporting. I raised my eyebrow at it because I was like, okay, a little bit of an unheard of, a little bit of an unknown last season. And you think, have Southampton got the recruitment spot on there, like Leicester got the recruitment spot on with players like El Canous, Buonanotte. I'm a massive fan of Matías Fernandes. I think he's started 33 games for them this season. He's been everywhere for them. And in a side of which creates nothing, he has basically been the the point of which they have created. He's the energy in and around the midfield. For me, he could play, if he wanted, could play 6, could play 8, could play 10, but I put him a little bit further forward anyway, because I believe his creativity is something that Leeds United could utilise. His creative stats are right up there this season as well when it comes to percentile. Even though that doesn't equate to goals and assists, his creativity, his forward-making actions are up there. And that is a really good piece of recruitment. And once again, I can see in the chat, is it, Leeds United Old School, don't know if it's you, another relegated player. I have to say this, I'll say this again. Ampadu was relegated 3 times. Does that mean that you wouldn't have signed Ethan Ampadu? Okay? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. If you've got the right environment, the right circumstance around a relegated player, it can work, and it will work. If you've signed someone who is, you know, even when you look at Rafinha, was Rafinha a 17th placed player? Of course he wasn't. You know, that's where he finished. That's where he finished for Leeds United when we stayed up. You know, he was a Man City player at that point, in my opinion. He was that good. Matías Fernandes for me would probably be the first player I'd go and get. The issue is I think it's going to be really difficult to get him over the line, but this will be a statement signing. It will be an absolute statement signing for me. As you can see, they're interested clubs, Villa, Crystal Palace as well. And the reason Villa and Palace are interested in him is because he's a Premier League footballer. Once again, you've got to look at the other clubs looking at him as kind of vindication for Leeds' scouting network being pretty decent. But someone like him in and around Ampadu and Tanaka as a 3 would be very impressive. Very impressive. We might need another physical body in there to potentially replace Ampadu at points, potentially. A little bit more of a runner. I don't know. I don't know how Leeds are going to set up. We've got to adapt in the Premier League. But he's someone who is a Premier League player, country mile Premier League player. And I will never buy into this notion. And I think nonsense. I respect your opinions, but I think nonsense that you can't go for relegated players. I think it's a ridiculous statement, because this has happened several times before when it's come to top clubs or mid clubs buying players that have gone down. It happens in football. You can buy talent in, you can get your recruitment right. They can have a good season and you can think, right, we'll pinch him. He's a good player in a different situation, surrounded by better players, context being applied. This can be a Premier League player. So yeah, he'd be my first. He'd be my first. I didn't think Leeds were looking at him. As I said, mentioned it the other day. Didn't think Leeds were looking at him, but according to reports, Leeds are very interested in Matías Fernandes. Keep any thoughts in, everybody. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look. I see that, Connor. Just don't rate him up to 30 mil. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I'm just not a fan of this whole rhetoric, mate. I'm not a fan of this whole rhetoric that we can't go and sign relegated players. There's no point in even talking about Kyle Walker-Peters then, who has interest from Spurs, Villa, again, Everton, because he's been relegated. So what's the point? Yeah, I mean, what's the point in even talking about El Canous or you know, I know Buonanotte was there for a period of time, but what's the point in talking about players like James Justin? There's no point because he's been relegated, even though there's good value for money there. Abdul Fatwu, there's good value for money there. There's no point because they've been relegated. So they then have a relegated mentality. I don't know. I don't really get it, to be honest. But I get, yeah. 30 mil for Fernandes is a bit too high, to be honest. I'd rather say 20 million quid. Yeah, I agree. And apparently they're looking at more money than that. But well, he won their Player of the Year, I think, last night at Southampton, which will probably put another 0 on his value. But yeah, 30 million quid is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But yeah, I like him. I do like him. And would he have sell-on value? Yeah, of course he would. Fernandes is class. Indeed, mate. He is indeed. 30 mil, no. I'd take 80p for Melee at the minute. I love how Melee just hits strays. No more than 20. He's probably desperate to leave. Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on to the next bit, shall we? The next bit that we've got today. Where are we? Where are we on the sheet? Okay, well, we've just spoken about him. And here he is. Okay, so there's a lot looking at him, which I didn't realize. Apparently, look, we've got one last hurrah with him and Southampton up against Arsenal in the last game, which should be quite funny in terms of what that score could be. Apparently, according to reports, he will be leaving Southampton pronto. Obviously, he's going to be out of contract, but he's looking to move on very quickly. Apparently, according to reports down on the South Coast, he doesn't want to be deliberating too much. He wants to move and find out his career path very, very quickly in terms of getting things sorted. So apparently, reports suggesting today that Leeds and Everton are very, very interested in Walker Peters, someone who can provide versatility, someone who can play on the left and the right, someone who's defensively minded, who was obviously exceptional in the Championship when we came up against him. Somerville couldn't get anything against him, could he? Let's be honest, in the 3 games we played. I think Somerville played in every single game, but the recent ones as well, he couldn't get any change out of Kyle Walker Peters. He dominated him. Spurs are the worry here, obviously formerly of Spurs. I think it'd be a good signing for them as well in terms of just rotation at the back, someone who's reliable, someone who plays a lot of games and doesn't get injured too much. Villa as well, a little bit of a worry if that was to come to the fore, but you'd hope that they can get so-called better players. But I think Kyle Walker Peters is a mid-Premier League player. It'd be a really good signing for me. Walker Peters, he'd be a really, really good signing. As I say, you always know from the other clubs who are involved how good he is. So yeah, that is something that apparently Leeds are trying to work on. Greetings from Tel Aviv. Connor, great show. Keep it going. Thanks so much, Ian. Really appreciate that. A no for me. Is that another relegated player there? Leeds United old school. Another relegated player. You need to put some suggestions in here, pal. Yes, Cal. I think you're the only one who said no for Kyle Walker Peters, to be fair. We respect your opinion, mate. I'm struggling. I'm struggling with you because you just say no to any player. For me, mate, why would Kyle Walker Peters not? You mentioned mentality for Matías Fernandes. What is it about Walker Peters mentality-wise that you wouldn't be a fan of? Oh, yes, quality. Right. Okay. I don't know where you've gone here, mate. You put no. There you go. Finally caught you almost live from Oz, liking the channel. Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate that. Delap went down with Ipswich and we're taking with a heartbeat. Nonto was relegated. Exactly. I think there's just a lot of context that needs to be applied. Chris's context will be a relegated player going into a mid-table team surrounded by Premier League players, established Premier League players going into a club with no... This is it as well, Chris. And it's... I think as well... it's something to consider that, if you were, Rafinha with us on that, in that period where he was surrounded with the greatest of respect, with Click, with Alioski, with this, that, and the other, then Rafinha in a team that was competing for the top 6 would be a completely different Rafinha. It's better players bring out better results for good players. Of course they do. Do you think Leeds act? Yes, I do, Connor. Yeah, they've spoken a lot about it, mate. They've spoken a lot about it. They want to act quick. Farke has said it. Parag, I think, has been, don't quote me on that, but I'm paraphrasing, but I think Parag said it as well, that they're going to act quickly. So someone like, you go in, you get a Kyle Walker Peters immediately, on free, you beat clubs to the signatures. I would hope that Leeds now have 3 or 4 signings that they're ready to push the button on. That's what I would hope. And I've got a feeling they will. I've got a feeling on the first, I'm going to make this prediction now, the first or second or third, Leeds bring in a free in the first week. That's what I'm going to predict. First week, they bring in a free. I think they bring in Julian Weigl. That's what I think. The Farke connection there, just I'm sure of it. And they signed Solomon. That's going to be my prediction. Weigl, however you want to say his name. I think he comes in for good value. Maybe it's like an improvement on Gruev. He comes in. Leeds get a free. And then Solomon. That's what I think. Matty Emerson says, from a Southampton fan, you'd be extremely lucky to get Fernandes. He's a phenomenal player. Matty, we got Rafinha, mate. You know what I mean? And Rodrigo. As in player profiles, mate. As in like the name, we got 2 players who Rafinha hadn't established himself so much, but he wasn't like a young player. And we took him from Champions League to Leeds. And that's the pull of Leeds United. People don't like it, but it is what it is. So yeah. And obviously it depends, because if you're looking at Fernandes, he'll have a relegation clause in his contract if he was to come to Leeds, of course. But would he want to come to a club that is going to be fighting relegation again, or would he want to go to an established club? But the difference with Fernandes is he would play at Leeds. He's not going to play at a Villa. Let's say if he went there, or is he going to play at a Palace? Is he going to play week in, week out? I'm not sure he will with that midfield. Rodrigo was a class player. I disagree with you there, mate. I thought it was a bad I thought it was a bad signing, Rodrigo. 29 years of age, 4-year contract, 30 million quid. I think it's a really poor signing, actually, from my perspective, anyway. Especially when in that period we were linked with Ollie Watkins, and we went for Rodrigo apparently. Lineup builder, player focus, good man, mate. Good man, can see you in here. Connor, do you think that Leeds will be restricted in transfers if we include relegation clauses compared to other clubs for the same transfer? Once again, it just depends on playing time, Lee. If we can offer them playing time and the ability to extend their profile, to inflate, amplify their profile, I do think they would choose Leeds. Leeds compared to Villa are the more attractive option right now, of course. I think Leeds are going to be really competitive when it comes to wages. If it's true and we are looking to offer someone like Firpo 155 grand a week, you kind of look at, Kyle Walker-Peters is effectively looking for 75 grand a week, apparently, according to reports. So if Leeds are to offer Firpo that, then you can see that we've got a lot of money. And if that is true, this is the rumour mill, but Leeds have got a lot of money in the coffers. I know that Leeds, if I've said this yesterday, with PSR and Leeds moving in and around, which we can when it comes to, we could sponsor the stadium, could look at other commercial ventures, as in you can sponsor the training ground. PSR moves in wonderful and mysterious ways. It's horrendous, but you can work around it, Sponsorship of the training ground for me, in terms of it, brought to you by X, Y, and Z, is the really commercial way Leeds can go about doing it, in my opinion, anyway. For speaking to people and the way Leeds can work around that. But of course, selling players, which is the big thing right now when it comes to like Nonso, Strauch, and of course Matteo Joseph. But there are ways in which you can work around PSR 100%, and Leeds have the ability right now to do that because we have assets. But on top of that as well, that then moves Leeds into a position where we can spend a lot of money. And I think they will. And there's a lot of people who think Leeds will be fine. Rodrigo was a cut above the others. Yeah, I agree with that, David. He was decent. I don't think he was a number 9. I don't think he was a 9. I think he was kind of a 9.5. I don't think he was a 10. I don't think he was a 9. So in a BL system, it didn't really work. He was a bit of a presser, but we didn't get enough for 30 million quid. We just didn't. Yes, Matt, I get what you're saying, mate. I get what you're saying, 100%. You think we'll mainly recruit from the Prem or abroad, Connor, being a large spectrum pick rumoured players? I would hope that it would be abroad, and we just look at profile players who can simultaneously fit into the Premier League. That's what I'd hope. Prem proven, experienced players are going to cost you an absolute premium, and a lot of them are on the decline as well, because top players in the Premier League we're just not going to be able to attract, I don't think. As big as we know we are. Yeah. Okay. Right, guys, we're going to leave it there. I know it's your Saturday, but if you want to catch more of me, we are going to be back on the second channel. I'm just about to set it up now. It's the stream. It's the watch-along for Sheffield United versus Sunderland. We're going to be sat here with popcorn watching it. Make sure you like the video before leaving, everybody. Really appreciate it. If you haven't seen it already, go watch the Stuart Dallas interview. We've also got other rumours that we've not touched on in this video, in the last video we did yesterday. Make sure you do that. Check out our sponsors, and I'm sure I will see you at around about 2:30 for Sunderland, Sheffield United. Massive game. It's been a pleasure, everybody. See you in a bit. Cheers.